Melanie. Well, I'm talking with David Tillman. He's written a book. It's called to be a Witness, and we sure appreciate you coming on this morning to talk with us.
Thank you.
So now this is your book right here. Can you tell us what it's about?
Yes, it's a book. Actually, it's a witness, you know, of what God can do and the love that He has for people, and how that He can talk to people and they can talk to Him and have a personal relationship with Him. And it's a witness of some of the encounters that I've had that He has actually spoken to me, you know, which kind of sounds, you know, fascinating.
Sure.
And it's very fascinating. There's many stories in there of this encounter, and it's very interesting reading. It doesn't take very long to read it. You know, it depends on how fast of a reader you are, but
Sure.
you know, it's somewhere right around 6 to 8 hours to read, and it's really enlightening.
Well, now, when you say that God was speaking to you, do you mean in your heart and just confirmation, or do you mean audibly?
I mean audibly, and I mean a voice that scared me so bad, I was too scared to run or even take a breath.
My goodness.
I was just literally just petrified.
Sure.
You know.
Well, why did you decide to write it? I mean, obviously because these are astounding encounters, but what made you really want to put it to paper?
Paper. Actually, I wrote the story down, and recently just felt a leading to go ahead and put it in print. And it's a testimony, you know, it's a witness, you know, as the book indicates, of what God has done, you know, and in this, and wanted to, for this book to be shared of the love that God has for us, and that He cares so much about us and each one of us that He's willing to talk to each one of us, even audibly.
Sure.
You know?
And now you're having a book signing coming up. It's at the Adel Church of God, and it's after the 11 a.m. service. Can you tell us what's going to be happening that morning?
Yes, after the service, basically just be in the foyer there to sign any copies of anyone who would like to have a copy signed, and of course purchase one. And the price is $10.99, and so I'll be there to do that. And I had one book signing not too long ago, about a couple of weeks ago, and it turned into a church service.
Well, now,
right
hey, that's all right, isn't it? That's wonderful. So
yes,
now
it'll
be this Sunday at the Adel Church of God.
That's correct, yes.
After the 11 a.m. service. Okay. You guys can go to David Tillman Ministries on Facebook if you would like more information. And we're going to be back learning more about his journey in writing this book when we return. You guys stick around. Thanks, Chris. Well, I'm back with David Tillman and his book, Called to be a Witness. And when we left off, we were talking about his book signing that's happening this Sunday morning at the Adel Church of God. It's right after the 11 a.m. service. But for people just joining us, would you mind kind of telling them again what your book is about?
Yes, some encounters I had when God spoke to me audibly about some things, and it tells a story about it in detail about that. And one, you just had Valentine's Day, you know, yesterday, and one of the encounter was my wife and I was, of course, on our third date before we got married, and God spoke to me audibly out loud. His presence just came down right over the top of the car, and He spoke out loud in this real deep voice, just like with just the whole earth just stood still and paid attention, you know. And He said, "Ask her to marry you." And I said, "What?"
I bet you did.
So you can imagine, 2 months later we were married, and
That's wild.
and that's been like 34 years ago, and it's just been a miracle. It's been one right after another. There's just one miracle right after another. That just got started, you know, and it just kept happening.
Well, congratulations on your long marriage that you've had so far,
Yes,
and that's
thank you.
a really cool story.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to put all of these down to paper?
Well, I started almost 10 years before I got it all written down and prior to deciding to write the book. But once I decided to write the book, it took about 2 years, you know, in my spare time.
Sure. And
I was working full time.
Were there ever moments when you had a hard time trying to put into words what you wanted to say?
Yes, it was, yes. Trying to get everything in detail to where it was interesting and easy to understand.
Sure.
You know, and
Yeah. Would you have any advice for people who may be wanting to write a book about their stories?
yes, I think the best way to do it is to record what you're going to say. It doesn't break the train of thought, you know, and it helps you to get everything out so you don't miss anything, and then sit down and just start typing it, you know, and then you start editing it then at that point. And
that's fantastic. Now, if people are interested in your book, where can they pick it up?
They can pick it up several places. There's davidtillmanministries.org online, or Amazon.com, or Barnes & Noble, or can go to Tate Publishing, their bookstore, and just search for Call to Be Witness or David Tillman, either one. Okay. And they can find it there and all the information. There's also some additional information there about it.
Wonderful. Now, this does say second edition, so is there any difference between the first and the second?
The book just looks a little different.
Okay.
That's basically about the only thing. The first edition had my picture on the back of it, but this one does not. Tate Publishing did the second edition because they were very kind, and they wanted to pay for a lot of the advertising to try to make the book public.
Well, that's nice. Well, we sure appreciate you telling us your stories this morning. If you guys would like more information, you can go to David Tillman Ministries on Facebook or davidtillmanministries.org. There you go. You guys get on over there. And again, his book signing, Adel Church of God, after the 11 a.m. service this Sunday. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back with more Good Day. Stick around.